Well, Fernando, man, I am so glad that we were able to make this work. It's an honor for me, man, to host this conversation for the Multiply Leader Collective that are watching this right now. So I want to say thank you, man, for making some time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I'm looking forward to it. Hello to everyone in the room, man. Josh, just getting a chance to know you for the last several years. I love your spirit. I love who you are. I love the leader that you are. You know, even just thinking back to the cohort that we did together last year with executive leadership, you know, I know what type of blessing that was on my life. And, you know, waking up those early mornings and just kind of praying and going and doing life with y'all, man, it really was impactful for my leadership journey as I just take the next step in my life also, man. So I appreciate you, brother.
Man, I'm so excited for our audience to get to hear you and get to know you today. Thank you. So for our audience, first of all, I want to say thank you to all of our sponsors for this event, man. This could not have happened without you. And what we're going to do with this segment of the day is we're going to give you a 15-minute preview. You're going to want more, but we're going to give you a 15-minute preview with my man, Velasco. And then we're going to send you the rest of the recording into your inbox later today. So once we cut it off, don't fret. We're going to get the rest to you. I know you're going to want to get to know Fernando, all of his story. And so we're excited about that. And this man is filled with leadership insights, with stories, with experiences. And man, I just love sitting back in the time we got to spend together. I just love sitting back and hearing about all that you're engaging. You're just surprising on so many levels. And I love that. So you and I got to know each other. Actually, Dow Loggins, former teammate of mine, who's now the OC at South Carolina. He's running back.
That's my guy.
That's right. Dow's the man. And you were on staff with Sam Pittman at the University of Arkansas, but now you're the director of player development for the Atlanta Falcons, the Dirty Birds. Man, I'm a fan. I love the Falcons. We're going to have a great year. We just signed Kirk Cousins. That's going to be fun. And Coach Raheem Morris is leading that ship now, which is incredible. That's for another day, another podcast. Tell us about your transition from Northwest Arkansas to Atlanta. What's been happening since that time frame?
Oh, man, thanks for that question. So, you know, for me, going back a little bit before that, I've always grown up wanting to be a coach. You know, the men that I looked to early on in my life were my high school football coaches. So when I got a full football scholarship to the University of Georgia, go Dogs, that was my degree. My degree was health and PE, and my goal was to be a high school football coach. That's what I knew. That's kind of what my path that I went on, because my two high school coaches, you know, that was taking care of their family, they was doing what they wanted to do. They had a very, very strong impact on my life. And I just wanted to do the same. But the more exposure that I got in the collegiate space, in the professional space, I was like, wow, there's more out there. There's more out there. There's more I can do. And fast forward to 2013, I'm playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm the starting center there. Things are good. I'm playing really well. You know, I tore my Achilles, out for the year. I had only signed a 1-year contract. You know, before the injury, my agent was talking to me, and we thought we was going to sign a nice multi-million-dollar contract. But it didn't happen because of the injury. But also, I had recently just got married. My father, who's deported, who had never seen me play, you know, from Pee Wee football, middle school football, high school football, college ball. Now, my 6th year in the NFL, he was going to get a chance to see me play for the first time. There was a lot of there's anxiety there.
That's a
lot of emotions. And so, and then on top of that, the kicker to it all, man, one of my best friends, one of my closest friends in the world, committed suicide. And in that moment, after all those combining all those things happening over a few-week period, I just was kind of bogged down. For me, and the way I coped with that was the pills that they gave me for my injury. I was taking multiple pills a day and drinking heavy. I was drinking a bottle of Hennessy every single day. But it was a guy by the name of Ray Jackson, man. He was the player development director for the Steelers. That's now he's the VP of player engagement for the Denver Broncos. And he put his hand around me. He led me through that process, let me know that I was bigger than football, and I had so much more life in me, things that God had put on me. So he really just cultivated me in a way that I needed that love, and I needed his guidance and his leadership. And so from that day, I went from this kid growing up wanting to be a high school football coach to say, hey, when I finish playing professional football, good Lord, I don't know how long that's going to be, but I want to be in the player development department because of Ray Jackson. And so, wow, after I retired from playing NFL 9 years, I was able to get a spot on Kirby Smart's staff at UGA. And I did that for 3.5 years. And, lo and behold, as I'm working head down, just grinding, just doing what I do, serving, being to help the people, there's a guy by the name of Sam Pittman leading the offensive line.
We need something right here. Yeah.
And he got the head job to be the head coach of University of Arkansas. And he gave me a call and said, hey, Fernando, I've been watching you for the last few years, and I really like the way you go about your business. I like the way you carry yourself. I love how you interact with the guys, but also interact with the leaders and administration also. And so I'd like you to come lead my player development department here at the University of Arkansas. So not knowing anybody in Arkansas, wasn't familiar with the state at all, man. I packed up everything that I knew, and I moved my family to Fayetteville, Arkansas. And it was one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life, man. I love my time there. I enjoy working for Coach Pittman, just being in Northwest Arkansas, getting to know the state a little bit. It was awesome, man. I really enjoyed it, and it allowed me to become that leader that I knew I could be, and gave me the confidence to one day have this dream job that I have now, working on a professional level. And so I did that for 2.5 years, man, and got the call to come work for the Falcons, and it's been a blessing.
Man, I think everybody can sense this, but the sky's the limit for you, man. You're just getting started. You think you're sitting in the dream seat, and you are, but man, the sky's the limit for you. And I love your story. I love where you're at right now. But I know you've launched a foundation called the Velasco Foundation. Tell me about that, the work that you guys are doing. I want to hear more, and I want my friends in the audience.
Awesome, man. So the Velasco Family Foundation, my wife and I, we just created this foundation, man. And I started back years ago when I was playing NFL. We hosted football and cheerleading camp. We would have up to 300, 400 kids at our camp. I guess that was the high school coach in me. Just want to kind of get my buzz there, get my feet wet there. But it was fun. The kids really enjoyed it. They enjoyed coming out. I would have some of my NFL buddies come and run the camp, and it was awesome. It was awesome. But God was always putting something on my heart that he wanted more. He wanted more. And he wanted me to more so, after having conversation with so many kids, that let them know that, hey, football is not the only way that you can become successful. And I think in our culture, just in the world now, they say, hey, you have to be a professional athlete, an entertainer, or something to be successful. And it wasn't true. It wasn't true. So my vision and my goal was always to have a life skills and leadership camp. That was it. I wanted to kind of get away from doing the sports realm. And I remember having a conversation with a young man. He was about 13 years old, and he was a pretty good athlete, but not the best athlete. And he just came to me crying one day and saying, hey, man, Fernando, I really, love playing football. I really think I'm good. But if I don't make it to the NFL, I will be a failure. If I don't make it to the NFL, I'm a failure. And I looked at him in the eyes and I said, hey, man, you're not a failure, whether you make it to the NFL or not. And I gave him a story just through my life that I think resonated with it, and it kind of brought a picture to the bigger post. So when I played for Carolina Panthers in 2014, that was year 7 for me in the NFL. And that was the first time that I had truly moved into a neighborhood. I moved into a nice house there, and it was 22 homes in this neighborhood. Some very successful people, like I see the successful people that's sitting out in the audience now. It's a nice neighborhood. And so, but I remember sitting outside one night and looking around, and I told this young man this story. I remember looking around and just thinking and reflecting just on my life and my journey, what God had brought me from. And of these 22 homes, I was the only one that had played in the NFL. So in that moment, it let me know it was at least 21 other ways to go get it. You know, because I realized that these people that's sitting out there and living in these homes too, they're not failures, and they haven't played in NFL. And so I moved from that neighborhood, and we built a house in Swanee, Georgia. And in that neighborhood, it was 55 homes. And I'm talking about real nice homes. My house there, 7,000 square feet. We've had some presidents, some CEOs, a lot of successful people that living in this neighborhood, 55 homes. But again, one night, I'm sitting outside, kind of reflecting on my journey, and I realized I'm the only one in this neighborhood that played in the NFL. So it let me know there's at least 54 other ways to go and get it. And
I love it.
From there, I retired from the league, and I worked in Athens, and I moved into a neighborhood. There was 52 homes. Same story, 51 other ways to be successful and take care of my family. Yeah. And when I moved to beautiful Northwest Arkansas, I lived out in Gosha in Waterford. Yeah, in Waterford, gated community, 200 homes on the river, had a pool in the backyard. And I'm sitting out there, and I was the only one in that neighborhood that had played in the NFL. So I told this young man, it's 199 other ways to go and get it.
Wow, talk about perspective.
And so with that, what I do now with my foundation, Velasco Family Foundation, we want to give exposures to young men aging from age 8 to 13 to let them know, hey, whatever dream you have, whatever goal you have, that it's possible. It's possible for you, no matter where you come from, no matter what your situation is. Last year, we had 25 kids there, awesome young men. Half of them are from Atlanta Mission and Atlanta, and this year, half of them will be from Atlanta Reference. There are two homeless organizations that the Camp Lighthouse is the grounds that I use to host this 3-day, 2-day camp. And I'm telling you, man, it's awesome. We talk about everything from dream building to financial literacy, to mental health. They get a chance to go fishing. They get a chance to swim in the lake. You know, and more importantly, we start every day off with a devotional, so kind of through life and pour into them. And they get to see that, man, you know, from all our attendees and all the men that I have there, that, hey, this guy didn't play in the NFL, and he's doing pretty well. And I have men there to pour into them, to let them know whatever goal you want, you know, whether you want to be, I had one guy say he wanted to be an artist. Whether you want to be an artist, whether you want to own your own business, whether you want to be a doctor, lawyer, whatever it is, like it's possible for you. And now you can be in an environment and be exposed to people that are doing it and that are willing to mentor you, to love on you, to pour on you, and to show us that it's possible, man. So we're doing that again in July. Really looking forward to it. You know, had some great feedback from it last year. We're going to actually have a STEM truck come out this year. So to talk about the science, technology, and I mean, so, you know, this is something that's been on my heart for a long time. So we finally rolling with it.
I'm gonna have to come out and be a part of this.
I need you there, man. It'll be awesome, man. And the kids, you know, I think, hey, I'm doing this for me and I'm getting this, but I tell you, they have fun. But for me to see the looks on their faces, and to they can just go out and be kids and be free, and to dream and use their imaginations to kind of flow and do whatever that is they do, man. This is awesome sight to see.
What I love about what you're doing with the Velasco Foundation is in a similar way that Ray Jackson expanded your vision and helped you see beyond what was this kind of tunnel vision. It was limited. He opened up a door where he's like, hey, there's a whole world out there. And you've even taken it further to saying, hey, in these neighborhoods, out of 200 houses, 199 did not play in the NFL, and they're doing well. They're husbands, they're fathers, they're eating in the community. They're what we call 100X leaders, right? They're they're healthy and overflowing and multiplying to the people around them. I love that, and I think that's a really powerful mission. We're going to find a way to put into the notes of this talk so people can find out.
Oh man, that's awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Is there a website?
We have a website. So yeah, I'll make sure you get that information so you can kind of share it to your people. Right.
So let me shift gears just a little bit. Your role in this space called the NFL in professional football as a player, but now on the professional side of that, in the sense of serving the players. What's it like? And take us inside of what it takes to work inside of a multi-billion-dollar business. I mean, I looked it up. The NFL is worth $163 billion. The Falcons are worth close to $5 billion. I mean, this is a serious business that demands peak performance every single day. And you guys put all of that into the hands of some 20 and 30-year-olds, young men who are still trying to figure it out. But take us into that. What's that like? And, these guys are trying to perform mentally, physically, emotionally every single day at this peak level. And your job, in a sense, is helping them stay healthy, helping them grow into this leader that they can become on the field and off the field. Just tell us a little about what it takes to be inside.
Well, yeah. First of all, man, I'll kind of just for guys that don't understand what player engagement or player development actually is. So we handle any and everything that comes off the field between me and my department. And, our pillars are continuing education. More so if God wants to go back to school, whether that's finish his undergrad degree because he left college early, the end of the draft, or if God wants to go and get a master's degree, doctorate degree.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL does a great thing to give each player $20,000 per year for tuition reimbursement. It kind of really encourages guys to go back to school and continue their education if that's something that they want to do. That's our first pillar. And the next pillar is financial literacy. So that's helping guys navigate, their finances. And we bring in different speakers, have different programs, different initiatives to help guys learn about this space. Very, especially focused in our Richie area. We have a guy, Mr. Keevan Cobb, that does a great job, with that space with our guys. And the last two, or the other next two, are just overall personal and professional development. We don't want them to be the same guy as they enter into the league when they exit the league. So, it's our job in our department to kind of help them with their transition into the league, allow them to, and help them formulate a plan so that when they exit the league, whenever that time is, whether it's on their terms or, under injury circumstances, they're ready to attack the world. So we just put a little small place in that. And then our last pillar is just the mental health, just helping guys understand that everyone and everybody deals with mental health and, putting a wellness plan around them to help them be successful in life. So that's kind of what the job entails of. But to your question, just kind of what it's like to be in it. I mean, for me, I feel fortunate. I feel blessed that God has put me in this position. And it's definitely the way I look at it. I know I have to be a good steward. And I have to be on my P's and Q's to honor him and to honor and serve each guy that I come in contact with. I learned a long time ago that it's not about me. I've actually played my last down of football than I ever will. I go out there from time to time and throw ball with my son, but that's about it for me. So it's not about me. This thing doesn't revolve around Fernando Velasco, but it's about how can I use my experiences to help grow and mold each of these guys that I come in contact with. So I feel fortunate. I feel honored. I feel blessed. But I definitely have to make sure that, hey, I take myself out of the equation and see how I can serve and help.
Man, that can be difficult. We can be, and in many ways, sports develops somewhat of a mindset. Professional sports, it is all about you, right? Sure, that's been a reversal and having to unlearn some stuff. So you mentioned you're a father, you're a husband, you're a leader in the community, and you're probably in many ways, a mentor, maybe even a father figure to a lot of the guys that are in your care, these young 20-somethings, young men. But what are you learning in that space as a father, as a husband, as a leader? What are some things you kind of collected over the past few years that you could share with those listening to this today that you think, man, this could be helpful for people in Northwest Arkansas or wherever they're listening from? Some insights.
Man, really good question, Josh. And I think it's an important question, especially for those of us that sit in our leadership seats and that have a lot on our shoulders. And we have to foster a lot of different relationships and have a lot of people under our care. The main thing that I've learned that really have helped me and shaped me and mold me who I am now is to, number one, that I have to take care of Fernando. You know, it's like that cup, right? My assistant brought me this cup, and so much is pouring out of that cup. But if I don't ever spend time with myself and have other people pour into my cup, then I'm pouring from an empty cup. And I find myself been there before, where I was just burnt out and tired. Just early in my career, dating back to my college days, where I didn't know how to manage, everything. And, so what I really do now, first thing in the morning, I'm early rise. I'm trying to be up by 5:30 a.m. And I spend time into just a personal gratitude moment, spend time with my Lord above. And I just write in my journal, write out my goals, I meditate, I listen in. And that helps me. That helps me to fill myself up. I think, I'm a extrovert. I love people, but I need that introvert time to just kind of pour into myself, because as leaders, once we're on, we're on. Once we get into the office and our day gets started, this person wants a minute, this person needs 2 minutes. I have to handle this task, I have to do that. So we always have to be on and on. But if you're pouring from a empty cup, you won't be effective. So I had to learn it the hard way. And so, that, and then just taking small breaks for myself, doing things that I love to do, making sure that I am doing the best and doing that so I can be the best and take care of the people that's around me. Start with my wife. That's my number one ministry. That's my number one thing. Start out with my wife, making sure I'm giving her the time, the respect, the love that she needs. And then pointing to my son, who's 9 years old, man. He's a little butterball, ball of energy. And then just everyone else that I touch, whether that's in my job, in my community, just making sure that I'm the best Fernando so I can be the best and be present and give everyone else the best version of me. Because, as leaders, God has put a lot in us that he wants us to share and navigate with others, but we have to make sure that we're in the right space to do so.
Man, I love what you're saying, because what I hear you saying is self-care is not about me. It's about me being able to serve others well.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes it can feel selfish. Man, I need to take time for me, but it's, as a leader, I'm constantly in that battle to make that time. It can get eaten up, and you know this as well. Like, that time for yourself can get eaten up, and all of a sudden, like you said, you're pouring out of an empty cup, or trying to pour out of an empty cup, and you're just kind of being accidental. You're just reacting to life versus being intentional. Yeah. So I love what you're saying right there. I think that's powerful. Can you think back when you were a player and you were being asked to perform at this high level every single day, in particular in season? Were there routines and mindsets that you had at that point that helped you that translate kind of into your life now?
Absolutely. The main thing for me is I'm a big picture guy. I'm a visionary type person. But the main thing is always keeping that why at the forefront of my mind. Why am I doing this? And with that why, I tend to find it best and tend to operate best when that why is bigger than me. It's a bigger cause. It's a bigger something than just Fernando. It's, hey, I want to be a great husband to my wife. I want to be a great father to my son. I want to be the best. Like, I got to, it can't be about me. It has to be something that's a lot more bigger than me that I can tap into. So keeping that mindset. And I work best in routine. I'm a routine guy, and you know, for me, I'm a morning guy. I love the morning. The morning is kind of my salute. You know, man, I was up at 4:30 this morning, and I had from 4:30 until my son woke up about 6:30. So I had about 2 hours just to myself, to pour into myself. You know, one of the things I'm trying to do, shout out to my belly right here. I'm trying to lose some weight and, you know, be proactive on that standpoint, you know, which has been good. You know, it's a lot of time to work out because as leaders, we get so busy with everything else. So we always have to make sure we take care of ourselves. So that's, you know, speaking of that, that's one area that I'm working on right now, just kind of getting back into shape. I'm down about 40 pounds right now, and I got a lot more pounds to go.
Congratulations.
But it's coming.
Brother, you got this, man. You got that. You know anything about you, you'll get it done, man. That is so exciting. You know, and it's I loved the idea that you mentioned. You said I keep that why at the forefront of my mind, and that's probably the key to to you know, climbing any mountain or to doing anything that's worth doing, is discovering, why am I doing this? Because you're going to hit roadblocks, you're going to hit resistance. And if you don't have that why in place, and if you don't have routines and habits and rhythms in place, you're probably going to turn back and go the other way. And I've done that. I'm guilty. And so it's a constant fight for a mindset. And as a professional athlete, man, I mean, you're asked to do things that are nearly humanly impossible. That's why not very many people are able to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think it translates into, you know, I think success, and we can define that in so many different ways, is an uphill climb. It's a mountain. And it's going to require an acclimation. It's going to require us to condition ourselves. You know, when you became a father, there was an acclimation that had to happen. You had to shift and start thinking differently. When you sit in this new seat as player development, a different way of thinking, right? Now you got to be Ray Jackson versus receiving from Ray Jackson. That's a different mindset. And growing with each season is that key. And you know, one thing for me is attaching myself to people like you who are doing it. And you give me fuel, man. You give me inspiration. You invite me into conversations, and we, you know, talk back and forth and fuel each other with ideas and with thoughts. And I think that's a really powerful way to do life as a leader. Yeah. Talk to me about this. What were some of you talk about mental health a lot. I want to go there.
Oh, let's do it.
Then what are some of the mental obstacles that you faced as a professional athlete, and I'll say as a leader, but also that you're seeing some of the athletes and the professionals that you work with day in and day out? What are some of the mental obstacles that you think those guys and leaders like them are facing in the world today?
You know, I think a big one, just kind of I've seen over my experiences, is that comparison game. You know, I love and think about the phrase often, like, love yours, like love your life. The life that you're living is the best life. You know, I can't compare Fernando's life and my journey that God has me on to Josh's or my buddy's Bob or whomever it is. I have to be comfortable and be content in my own life and understand that I'm still grinding. I'm still on this journey to be the best version of myself that I can. But, you know, so the comparison game, and I've definitely been guilty of it. You know, hey, man, you know, this player just got this contract or just struck this business deal. Why haven't I reached that level yet? You know, what do I need to do to do that? And then from there, it's just the pressures that we put on ourselves, man. And I'm the biggest, you know, victim of this. You know, putting so much pressures on myself, whether this pressure, you know, family, you know. Then lastly, just the financial pressures of want to create a certain lifestyle for yourself. You know, we all like nice things. Yeah. We all want this or we want that, you know, but stay on the journey and in the right time, you know, it's just in your will that those things will come when the time is appropriate. But, you know, getting out of the comparison of myself to others, that's a big deal.
Can I double click on something you said, and this may take you into some uncomfortable territory, some vulnerable territory, but I know you'll go there if you want to. Man, you said stay on the journey. Was there a time when you maybe either were very tempted to just get off the journey, to just let everything go? And you mentioned one of your best friends back in 2013, 2014, committed suicide. Maybe it wasn't that extreme. Maybe it was, but I'm just curious, man. Have you walked through a season, man, when you just felt like, man, I give up, man. I quit. I don't want to do this anymore.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Because life, people say life be life, and life is challenging. But I know this. One of my favorite passages in the Bible for my Christians, but it says James 1, and it talks about counting all joy, and that talks about perseverance, and everything that I go through on the other side is to be a blessing to someone else. So I remember, man, back working at Georgia, Kirby Smart asked me to come be a part of Georgia football team, and I knew that, hey, this was going to be a national powerhouse. Rick had brought it up to our point, and I knew Kirby was going to take it to the next level. I just felt it, but I was glad that I was a part of it. And when I retired, we had a conversation, and he let me know he was going to hire me, and I thought it was going to be the best thing ever, and it was awesome for me, But when I started on that journey, entry-level position, I'm coming out playing NFL, playing for 9 years, and he called me, hey, Fernando, man, I got this job for you. I said, okay, I'm excited. When can I start? Then he said, hey, we're going to pay you $40,000, And coming from the NFL, in that moment, $40,000 was probably a weekly paycheck. But so I was excited. I had the big picture, why, what I wanted to do, because I ultimately know, like I said, that I wanted to be in this spot, and I know that was somewhere along that way that I had to go on. I had a road that I had to travel on to get to where I wanted to be. But over the course of that time, man, I got tired. And I wonder and I question, would it ever come to pass? Working 12, 13, 15-hour days for something that I didn't think, I couldn't see in that moment sometimes. Would it ever happen?
Yeah.
Would ever see me working and grinding and putting in all this work? Would I ever get promoted? Would I ever become a director myself? Would I ever lead my own program? Would I ever get to the NFL doing this? And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. No matter where you are on this ladder right now, called life, corporate America, business, would I ever strike that big deal? Would it ever happen for me? And so it was time when I'm like, man, do I need to pivot? Do I need to do something else? The guy had already showed me the vision. He had already told me, hey, I was on the right path. And, but it helped me keeping that big picture why and celebrating my small victories. When I would have a conversation with a player that would lift me up or pour into me as he think I'm pouring into him. When I would I was small, a small gain over here, a small gain over there. Understand and celebrate my small victories, and you never know who's watching. And like I said, at that time, it was a guy by the name of Sam Pittman that called me, man, and led me to get my big break, and from there, it has led me here. But it was definitely a time when, looking around, comparing myself to my competitors, and just thinking that it was, and knowing that it was more, and I was capable of more, but not being able to see that light at the end of the tunnel.
Man, what you just described is what I've often called the slingshot principle. Man, you're here and God actually pulls you backwards, and it feels like a reverse. Like, whoa, why am I going the other way? Like I'm trying to go that way, right? And he pulls you back. And you mentioned the salary feeling like, what, $40,000 a year? That was a week, But I love what you did is in humility submitted yourself to a process because you understood a why.
Yeah.
You understood a bigger picture, and you knew that eventually that slingshot's going to be released. And if you would not have said yes to that in humility, you wouldn't be sitting where you are right now. which I think is a fascinating storyline. And I think it's a really powerful picture of you as a leader and who you are, your character, your humility. And it's why guys can trust what you say when you say it. So, well, hey, let's wrap this up with this question. Man, a lot of high performance listeners leading and listening today. What would you say to them that is critical or vital to unlocking day in and day out peak performance and then being able to sustain that performance over time? What's been your experience, and what advice would you give to us as high performing leaders?
For me, we've already kind of tapped into it a little bit, but it'll be to take care of yourself so you can take care of those who you serve. I mean, bottom line, period. I think the more you take care of you, the people around you, the people you serve, starting with your family, will get the best of you, and you can do things, small niggas here or there, to re-energize yourself, thinking about the big picture, keeping your why at the forefront. But it starts with that self-care, because we talk about mental health. I think, that's a world that I'm very, very passionate about because of my own struggles and, things I've seen around me.
Yep.
But, I think it's one of my callings to kind of destigmatize that message, because everyone, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, everyone deals with mental health. It took mental health for you guys to come into this conference today and to be a part of this, to wake up, to get out of your car. You had to think about your mental health. Mental illness is when you put a diagnosis on. That's the bipolar, that's anxiety, that's depression, that's mental illness, which is separate from mental health. And mental wellness is the combination of the self-care items and how you take care of yourself to make sure that your wellness is taken care of and your mental health is taken care of. So I think there's 3 different departments, 3 different ways of looking at it. Mental health. Okay, so something wrong with me. I need to. No, man. Mental health, everyone deals with it. So I challenge each and every leader there. I challenge you there to really do a deep dive on your life, do a deep dive on just you personally. Look at the mirror and ask yourself, how can you come up with a wellness plan to take care of your mental health? For me, actually during my time serving at the University of Arkansas, I think back in 2020, I started going to therapy for the first time. And I've done a lot of cool things in my life. I had a lot of amazing experiences, but for me, starting therapy and going to therapy, this is the best thing that I've ever done for Fernando. It totally changed my life and my perspective and how I look at it. And so for you, it may not be therapy. You may not be there yet, but I challenge you to find a friend, a loved one, someone that you can confide in, someone, you can just vent to. I feel like that's what therapy is. It's a no judgment vent session that you can release those pressures are that we talked about as leader that we put on ourselves. You're going to lead it, alleviate them to be free, to be lighter.
Man, when you were talking, you made me think about, we talk a lot about climbing a mountain, and we talk about Everest, and the higher you climb, one thing you discover is the air thins out the higher you go, which means that when I used to be able to take 10 steps per one breath, now I've got to take 10 breaths for maybe one step. And that's still moving forward. That's still progress. That's still success. But I think a lot of times when we get to these higher performing places and expectations we're putting on ourselves and the world around us, I think we've got to remember, man, we're in this slow acclimation becoming process as we, trek up this mountain. And I think what happens is as we grow, we get these challenges, these mental challenges that come around us. We're like, I'm not sure how to handle this. And I love the advice that you've given our listeners and the people watching this today is do the work of taking care of yourself. Do whatever it takes to learn how to breathe at whatever level you need to. There's no shame in taking 10 breaths for one step. keep breathing, keep moving forward. And man, when I'm around you, Fernando, you are a peace giver. You're a life giver, man. You actually put off breath for other leaders. And so I just want to say thank you, man. Thank you for being that kind of leader. You're not about yourself. There's a humility about you, and which makes you very, very powerful for the people that you are called to serve. And they're blessed to have you in the Atlanta Falcons organization. Man, thank you for taking time out of your schedule today. I know you guys got things going on there today, and you pushed pause to jump on this call with us and with me. So thank you so much for that, man. I look forward to more conversations in the future. I wish you the best. And I know this, I know that great things are in store for you and for those that you're leading. So can't wait to see all that happens, man.
No, thank you, Josh. Thank you for this time. This was awesome. Really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for being a part of my life and just helping me on my leadership journey, man. You know, just the nuggets and the wisdom and your perspective on life, man, and just to want to always help people. I think it's important. You know, that's definitely you along others have helped me along my journey. And that's what it is a journey to get to that destination. I think having that community of people around them, you know, around me have been awesome, man. I got a group of 4 men around me that I call my 4 horsemen, and they all serve
I love it.
different roles, and they all pour into me from different angles, man. But and without them, I couldn't be me, and I couldn't serve the way I serve and lead the way I do. So, man, thank you for this time. Thank you for this platform. And we'll see you soon.
Man, it's an honor. Thanks, Fernando.